so long. Ever since the day that I met you, I knew you were the girl of my dreams, but we could never be. You don't love me anymore. Let's see how you like this song. We find love, we get up, and we fall down. We give up, we find love, we get up, and we fall down. We give up. You don't love me anymore. Let's see how you like this song. You need someone you adore. Find a place where you might belong. Ever since the day that I met you, my world's been spinning out of control. I just need you to hold. We knew it'd come around, this thing called love.
What is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode brought to you by the League FFB. It's an early morning, man. We got the international games over there in Dublin, Ireland today. My Minnesota Vikings, obviously, you see I'm in my Minnesota Vikings gear. If I got to be up early, at least I get to root for my home team. So, good day today. I appreciate everybody for being in the chat early. I know some of us, Insidious, I saw the chat earlier. He says, how we doing? I know you said 5:30 a.m. Pacific time. I guess I shouldn't be complaining, but appreciate everybody being here. Insidious, Jeff, Latrell, Fantasy Meatball, Jonathan, Football Productions, everybody in here. As always, folks, this is going to be our Week 4 Start Sit stream, so if you drop questions in the chat, we're going to be answering all of those. Super Chats are the best way to support the stream, and they're going to skip the line, so if you feel like you don't want to wait to get your question answered, that's the best way to do it. And one more thing for you folks at home. If you do want to support our stream, you can do so over on Underdog. Underdog, for new customers who use promo code LeagueFFB and play $5, they will get $50 in bonus funds. And this weekend in particular, this is a smash weekend to go sign up and play over there if you've never done so, because they have a ton of promos this weekend. It's basically a no-sweat weekend all week for you. If you play and you don't win, they're just going to give you some bonus funds back. So you basically lose nothing. This Sunday morning in the Dublin game, you get a 50% profit boost. And then the Sunday night and Monday night games, you get some gimme picks this week with Dak Prescott and Bo Nix. So like I said, if you want all of those promos, you want to support the show, you want some $50 in bonus funds, all that good stuff, promo code LeagueFFB is the best way to do that. But with all of that out of the way, I mean, that's not what you guys are here for today, but I feel like I got to plug it anyways, right? So let's just hop into the questions here today, and let's just get into it. So Jonathan, he starts us off. He says, Superflex, I am 0-3. Do I start Penix or Rodgers, or should I drop Rodgers for Wentz and start Wentz? It's a good question. I honestly, I'm not sure off the top of my head where I have Wentz in my rankings this week. I want to say I have Wentz below Penix, ahead of Rodgers. So I would be playing Penix over all of those guys. Jeff says Tyreek or Pearsall. It's close. We hear Jennings is supposed to be limited potentially, but I would still go Tyreek Hill. We have Trevion Henderson or DeAndre Swift in Indianapolis Colts defense or Los Angeles Rams defense. I would go with Trevion Henderson over Swift this week, and I would probably go with the Colts defense, or the Rams defense over the Colts defense. Flex 1, Iomanner, J-Mo, or Ollie. Is Pacheco droppable for Gainwell or Dowdle? I would be flexing J-Mo, and I'm not dropping Pacheco for Gainwell or Dowdle at this point in time. Although Gainwell does look like he's going to be the guy who gets the majority of the workload today, I think the better potential pickup and stash is, why am I spacing his name? Rookie running back that they have over there. I don't know why I'm spacing his name. That's not like me. Tyler with the super chat, he's $4.99. He says Mason or Kyron. Also, I started two. Also stated two Decente Math. Romeo Dobbs or Trey Tucker. I'm thinking Dobbs. Who is Decente Math? I think so. The first one, Mason and Kyron. I do have in my rankings, Kyron Williams is 3 spots ahead of Jordan Mason. So I would be going with Kyron Williams today. And I think with Romeo Dobbs and Trey Tucker, I don't know who the other guy is, Desante Math, whatever that is. But I would probably go Romeo Dobbs over Trey Tucker. Dustin, thank you for saving me, dude. That was a brain fart early morning type of moment. Caleb Johnson is the better pickup, I think, if you want some high upside. All right. We got thank you for this podcast. No problem, man. Thank you. Start 3, Pickens, Etienne, Judkins, or Samuel. Give me Pickens, Etienne, and Judkins. Bench Samuel. Latrell says, good morning. Good morning, Latrell. He says, if you had to sit one down from these 4, who would you sit? Odunze, Emeka, Cortland, Ladd. If I have to sit one, I think I'm sitting. It's between Cortland and Ladd. I want to say in a PPR format, I do have Ladd behind Cortland, which feels weird, but it's what I'm doing. Tyler says, sorry, start 2, Dobbs, Trey Tucker, and Devonta Smith. Okay, so it's going to be Devonta Smith and Dobbs for me. I would play those 2 guys. Appreciate you, Tyler, man. Seriously, thank you for supporting the show. What do we got here with this question? 1 and 2, full PPR. I need a dub. Got to sit one of these guys, Etienne, Henderson, or Golden. I'd be sitting Golden. I think he's probably has the least upside this week, but we need to see the breakout, and we kind of need to see it with Henderson too, but at least we have signs pointing towards he could be getting some more touches. How did I just now figure out you can change your YouTube name? Shaking my head. Who is this? Who is this? I don't know. Kyle says full PPR, Shakir, Godwin, Dobbs, pick 2. Wow, that's tough because I don't feel super confident in playing Godwin right away, but I do think I'm more confident in playing him than I am Romeo Dobbs. I'd probably go Shakir and Godwin and just take the upside. Dylan says, let's have a day, all full PPR, 2 different leagues, both 0 and 3. I need to ace these picks. Lots of pressure for me, Dylan. But he says 1 quarterback. He's picking between Mariota, Dart, and Tua. Then he needs 1 foot. Let's go one by one. So the first question with Mariota, Dart, and Tua. I'm not playing Dart this week, I don't think, unless I absolutely have to. The Los Angeles Chargers defense is a little bit tough. I think I'm going to go with Marcus Mariota in that game. And then I'm going to go with between Swift, Bill, Juwan Johnson, and Worthy. I'm going to go with Swift in the flex, and then the different league, he says 2 flexes, Golden, Pearsall, Swift, and I want to make sure he didn't get cut off. Yeah, Chase Brown and Chubb. That one I'm going to go with Pearsall and Swift as the 2 flexes. So that's going to be my hopefully good picks for you so you don't go 0-4. Kyle says, my guy, love you long time. Drop the likes, y'all. Appreciate you, Kyle. Bradley, yo, man, do you like Hawkinson over Juwan this week? I'm worried that the Saints just won't get any offense. I have my Hawkinson jersey on this morning, but I'll be honest, if I'm looking at my rankings this week, I do have Hawkinson one spot above Juwan Johnson as well. So they're both like low-end tight end ones. I got Hawkinson at 10, Juwan Johnson at 11. It's just totally different matchups. Better matchup for Hawkinson, a much tougher matchup for Juwan Johnson. So I do have it on, but that wasn't, by intention to help you answer this question. Good morning, good morning. Start in the flex, Worthy or Diggs. I think I'm going to go with, I'm not super confident to play Worthy. I've heard that he might be limited to a limited role this week. So probably Diggs. Juan says, what up, Poppy? What up, man? Says need 3 spots, wide receiver 1, 2, and 3, and a flex spot. So let's do the wide receivers first, and then we'll pick the flex. So if we're picking 3 of these wide receivers, you got QJ, Hollywood Brown, Devonta Adams, Deebo Samuel, Jordan Addison, Trey Tucker, or Tyquan Thornton. So I'm going to go with Adams, Deebo, and probably QJ. Those would probably be the 3 that I play. Yeah, let's do them. And then for the flex, you have Josh Jacobs potentially in the flex. Or no. He says it's Nick Chubb or Trevion Henderson. Josh Jacobs and Jonathan Taylor are my starters. Okay, so I think I would go. It's going to be between Addison and Henderson in the flex. I think I like Addison more than Henderson in the flex potentially. Just a safer play. But the higher upside play would be Henderson. I'm starting Fields over Mahomes as an upside play because I'm 0-3 facing the league's most stacked teams. What are your thoughts? Also, PPR, am I going Scatterboo or Olave in another league? I don't mind the Fields over Mahomes pick in just for upside in general. I do have Mahomes a few spots higher than Justin Fields, but I don't mind it for the upside of the rushing upside. If you think that that's going to be a game where Justin Fields is running all over Miami, which it absolutely could very much be that game. So I don't mind that as an upside play. Scatterboo versus Olave. I think I like Scatterboo. Probably has a higher ceiling, similar floors if he gets utilized the same way that he did last week. But it's tough with that QB change. Javonte Williams or Cortland Sutton for the flex in a full PPR league. I probably would go Javonte. Myers or Olave? Good question. These guys are like kind of the same player now. It's like get a lot of receptions, don't do a lot with it as far as yardage goes. I do have Jacoby Myers higher in my rankings this week. What up, A-Rod? Chris Godwin, Chris Rodriguez, or Bill in my last flex, full PPR. I think probably Godwin. With Warren being out, do I start Braylon Allen, Bill Dowdle, or pick up Chris Rodriguez? Could also start Caleb Johnson, but that seems risky. Yeah, I mean, all of these options are pretty risky. I think the safest play of all of these guys would be Bill if you're just looking for some points in the lineup. But Caleb Johnson would probably be the upside play. But yeah, I'd probably go with Bill as your safe. Like, let me just get some points. Parker Washington or Kayshon Boutte this week? Last minute Warren replacement. I think I would go Parker Washington. Yo, is it smart to sit Reek this week? In one league, thinking of sitting Reek for Sutton, and in another, Reek for Keenan. I will say I do have Reek higher than Sutton, and I do have him higher than Keenan. So I would probably still play him over those guys. Those players you're talking about, though, they have safer floors. So if you're looking for a floor play, it's going to be a close game. You just want points in the lineup. The floor plays are fine. But I think Reek still has a ceiling game potential against this Jets team. So I think he's the ceiling play. We did get a super chat in here. Blue Line, appreciate the super chat. Says Javonte, Keenan Allen, or Tetaroa McMillan at the flex. The highest player in my rankings right now is going to be... I have Tetaroa McMillan over Keenan. And then I think I have Tet over Javonte. Let me see. No, I have Javonte over Tet. So I would go with Javonte Williams there. Probably be playing him. I think we're here, right? BTJ or Hawk, 0.75 tight end premium. I already have Juwan Johnson in the tight end slot. Man, I don't want to keep throwing him out there because we just haven't seen signs of life, but I'm still going to throw him out here in this situation. Brian Thomas Jr. is going to be the player that I would probably be playing. I just have him as a better reliable option, I think, which sounds crazy that he's a reliable option, but a 0.7 tight end premium, I think I'm still going BTJ. Fantasy Meatball says, sorry, couldn't get the super chat to go through. Don't worry about it. You don't have to super chat at all. Nobody has to super chat at all. So he says Chuba or Gainwell in full or point per carry. Give me Chuba. Lewis hits the super chat. Appreciate you, Lewis. He says PPR, Travion or Addison. Thanks, man. I think Travion is the ceiling play. Addison is the floor play. If I have to put one in my lineup today, I think I'm going to go with Travion. Kel says Justin Fields or Daniel Jones. I have Daniel Jones higher than Justin Fields. And then he says Chase Brown or Egbuka. It's 100% Egbuka there for me. Nate says, good morning, Egbuka or Quentin Johnston. I'm going Egbuka. Drunk on Dynasty says, was just offered BTJ for my Saquon in another league. 12-team full PPR, and you obviously automatically declined that one, right? Gainwell or Downs? I think I like Gainwell more than Downs this week. I need a flex. Got QJ, DK, ETN. What do you think between these guys? I probably am going to lean with ETN here. DK would be the next guy that I would be potentially looking at, and then QJ after him. I think it's a tough matchup for DK. Minnesota's been number one against wide receivers so far to start the year. That could just be a little bit about, lack of matchups, but they have been pretty good. So I probably am going to just play ETN. I'm playing in a 14-team Superflex redraft league. I'm starting Hurts, but should I play Dak versus the Packers or start Mariota versus the Falcons? I'd be playing Dak versus the Packers over Mariota. Should I trade Travis Etienne for Tedero McMillan? Half PPR, 2-team. My running backs are CMC, JT, Jordan Mason. My wide receivers are Tyreek, Mike Evans, Pickens, and Olave. I think it's a fair trade. It does seem like your team does need more wide receiver help than it does running back help. With you having JT, Jordan Mason, and CMC, I feel like you have plenty of starters there. But if you have 2 flex spots, you could play 4 running backs every single week. And if it's the same league that you just asked me about, then maybe. But I think we can probably do this move if you don't have 4 flex spots. But if you have 4, I don't mind just playing the running backs every week for now. Andre says, should I start Gainwell or Sutton to flex? I'm going to go with Sutton still, even though Gainwell is going to see some increased opportunities. Andre says, morning, brother. Can I trust Hawk today, or would you start Fannin in PPR? I like Hawkinson more than Fannin in a PPR league. Don't know if we can fully trust him. I got the jersey on if it's a sign for you, though. I got the Hawkinson jersey on this morning. ETN or Javonte in a PPR league. Right now, Javonte Williams is currently my running back 14. ETN is my running back 23 this week. So I would be going with Javonte. Tristan says, oh, damn, I had QJ in. Thought he's been good and has the best matchup out of the 3. Yeah, I think it's a solid matchup. I think ETN has guaranteed work. He's going to get goal line opportunities. With QJ, it is a good matchup. I have him as my wide receiver 26. I do think that there's just a chance. It's tough to tell for the offense where it's going to get spread out to. I do think Hampton gets a little bit of run in the second half. I think that when they're throwing it, it's going to be a first half, and then in the second half, they're running with Hampton. Hampton's pretty high in my rankings this week. And then I think when they are throwing it, it's a mix between Keenan, QJ, Ladd, and now Aronde Gadsden's going to probably be a little bit involved. But it's just hard to kind of read that room from a week-by-week basis. Feels like all of those guys are like better best ball picks this year because you just get the spike weeks when they get into the end zone. Should I hold on to Fannin/Downs or pick up the Browns D for the next few weeks? I have a list of receiver depths, and I have Tyler Warren. If you have Tyler Warren, I probably am okay losing Fannin. If I'm looking at defenses over the next couple of weeks, the Browns defense is... They got a tough one this week against Detroit. They got Minnesota the following week, Pittsburgh the following week. Could be a good stash, but I would say maybe not necessary depending on the defense that you have. It's not bad, though. With what you say you have is a list of receiver depth and Fannin and Tyler Warren, I probably would be okay losing Fannin if you want to go pick up the defense. Dart or Mariota in a 4-point passing. I'm going to go with Mariota. I think it's just a tougher matchup for Dart against that Rams defensive line to start the game or to start his career. All right, Tua or Wentz in the Superflex, 6-point passing touchdowns, also Kraft or Warren in full PPR. I would be going with Tua over Wentz, and I would be going with, I think, Tyler Warren over Tucker Kraft. Sean says, you doing Chase Brown or Gainwell? Wow, who would have thought we would have been here? I think I'm going with... Chase Brown still. Like I said about that Vikings defense, it's been really good to start the year. Better against the wide receiver than they have the running back, but I don't think Gainwell's like a game breaker. Do you think ETN over DK? Yeah, I don't like the matchup for DK this week. Heartburn says, with Warren being out, do I start Braylon, Bill, Dowdle, or pick up Chris Rodriguez? I think we answered this one, but I'll answer it again. But I think the first time you put it in here, Heartburn, we did say go with Bill if you need the safe points in the lineup. I would just go with Bill. Super chat from Eric. Eric says, panic. All right, panic. Eric, we're not going to panic right now. All right. I appreciate the super chat. Let's get this figured out. He says, a deep league. Do I go with Gainwell or Addison? It's a half-point PPR. And then Fannin or Strange. Okay, so I would go with Addison over Gainwell. And I would go with Strange over Fannin. I think that game for Gainwell is a little bit of a tough matchup against that run defense for Minnesota. And I think that Strange is going to be a little bit more involved this week. And it's a pretty decent matchup for him as well. We did skip this one accidentally. Danny says Dak or Fields. Ooh, I think I'm going to lean Justin Fields there, and that is exactly what my notes tell me to do as well. They tell me to lean Justin Fields. Do I start Pollard or Chase Brown and flex Judkins or Worthy? Well, I'm flexing Judkins over Worthy. For the running backs, between Chase Brown and Pollard, it hasn't been good for either of them. I think I would still go Chase Brown over Pollard, though. Josh Downs, JMO, or Gainwell. Sit one in full PPR. So sit one, not start one. We're going to sit Josh Downs. Jordan Addison or Tyquan Thornton. With Worthy back in the lineup, I think I'm going to go Jordan Addison here. I was finally able to pull off the Bowers for Caleb trade we've spoken about a bit ago, but it costed me to do it. Going to put it in the trade review show. Scared of what y'all are going to say if you pick it. Well, throw it in there. Let's see what happens, man. Maybe next week. Going to go ETN. No problem, man. Harburn says thank you. No problem. Would you go Judkins over Pollard? Yes, I would. I would go Judkins over Pollard. Addison or Tyquan Thornton? Cash, we just answered this one. It's Addison. All right, folks, we are caught up so far. I'm going to go check, make sure we don't have any new news this morning, just to make sure we're all good to go. JCM is expected to play. Devontae Adams is expected to play. Pearsall and Jennings expected to play. What else do we got? Jalen Warren not playing this week. So Caleb Johnson and Kenny Gainwell are going to see some more touches. We have... Other than that, it looks like a lot of normal news. Baker Mayfield, Chris Godwin, and Tristan Wirfs expected to play. That's big for the Bucks. Derek Stingley Jr., he is expected to play. Not 100%, but pushing to play. DeAndre Swift expected to play. Colston Loveland, not really expected to get into the lineup this week. Chuba in. Tedero McMillan in. Isaiah Likely in. So that's kind of all the news from the last couple of hours going into late last night. My 3 wide receivers are Hill, Ladd, Adunze. Flex is Javonte Williams. Do I move anyone for Worthy? No, I would not move anybody for Worthy. I'm not forcing Worthy into my lineup this week. Cody says Jordan Mason or Genty. Good question, Cody. I feel like right now a lot of people are down on Ashton Genty. I still have him over Jordan Mason in my rankings this week. It should be a decent matchup against Chicago. He is my running back 15 in PPR. Jordan Mason is my running back 19. It's going to be touchdown dependent for both guys probably, but I think Genty is a player that I would still play over Jordan Mason. Full PPR, we get to start one. Ertz, Engram, or Goddard. It's going to be Ertz for me in a full PPR tight end premium. Dak or Danny Dimes? Give me Danny Dimes. Christian says, new to the channel. Appreciate you being here, Christian. Says, full PPR, pick 2 with ETN, Pollard, or Henderson. All of these guys are guys that are kind of in that low-end RB2s for me this week. I do have ETN and Henderson over Pollard. So I would be picking those two, and I'd be sitting Tony Pollard. Skylar says, you're awesome, man. Appreciate you, Skylar. You're awesome as well. One more from me. I'm in a league I co-own, and we need to decide between one. It's Burden, Sterling Shepard, Hunter Renfrow, Kate Otten, with the news of Warren being out. Okay, well, with Godwin back in the lineup this week, I'm not really playing Sterling Shepard. And that also kind of removes Kate Otten for me as well. It's a nasty boy play this week, but I think the answer is probably Hunter Renfrow as the pick and the play this week. In my redraft league, I was in need of QB, so I traded Addison for Fields. Don't yell at me. I don't mind it. If you need QB, that's fine. I feel like Addison is a player that it's like a boom bust, a spike week type of guy. He's a guy that probably the good weeks performs as like this high-end wide receiver 2. The bad weeks, he's more of like a wide receiver 4/flex play kind of guy. So I don't hate it. If you go need a QB and you need a QB like Justin Fields who has rushing upside, it's fine. I'm not going to yell at you. Matt, appreciate the super chat, says Jennings, Coleman, Diggs, or Downs. I lean Jennings in PPR, but snap count scares me. Yeah, it is kind of scary. He is the best play of all of them. I will say the next best play in my rankings is going to be where is it? The next best play for me is Downs, but I'm not super confident with him. I think Jennings is the play for me, even if he's on the snap count. It's scary. It's scary for sure, but I think I'm plugging him in. Mason or Genty? I would go Genty. Gainwell over Trey Tucker in the flex? I think so, yeah. I think Trey Tucker, I don't want everybody to react to Trey Tucker's big week last week and then get, just big eyes about that going to be the potential weekly norm. I think Trey Tucker's a player that's going to have spike weeks. Not that. I don't think he does that again this year. But I think Gainwell with, what's his name? Jaylen Warren out of the lineup. I think he's a better play this week. Probably going to get some PPR points as well. Take some of the receiving work. All right, so we are all caught up. We are about 30-ish minutes to game time. So we're going to go here for a little bit longer, probably 15 to 20 minutes, as long as you guys still have questions. If it feels like the questions are slowing down and there's not as many, I know usually the morning games on these international games or the morning streams for these international games are usually not as popping because a lot of y'all don't be waking up for these early games. That's just kind of the way it is. But it is still good to see all of you guys here in the chat this morning. I appreciate everybody hitting the like button so far. We are at 32 likes, so that is really good to see, despite it being, a weird time to be streaming. But like I said, keep those questions flowing. Let's get them in. We'll go for another like 15, 20 minutes. If it does slow down, we'll maybe wrap it up a little bit early, give everybody a chance to tinker with lineups and overthink maybe a little bit before this first game. But also maybe give me an opportunity to go sit down and get in my Vikings mindset for the day. But let's see, what do we got here? The next question on the docket is Smurf. He says, hey, I need some help, please. It's a 10-team double flex PPR. He's got Tucker versus the Bears, Gainwell versus the Vikings, and Njoku versus the Lions. Also starting Worthy in wide receiver 2. I don't know, and Hampton in the first flex. Man. I would go Njoku versus the Lions. And I'd keep Hampton in the flex. Yeah, if we're only picking 2, I think I'm going to go with Hampton in the flex and then Njoku in the flex. Hopefully I answered that right, Smurf. But I think the way you asked it was you have 2 flex spots and you need 4. You gave me 4 names, so I'm picking 2 of the 4. So I think that's what we're doing. George says half PPR. I'm 0-3. My only good receivers are JJ, Ricky, Terry, Golden, Shakir. I'm good at running back, or I'm weak at running back. Do I trade JJ and Brees for Bijan and DJ Moore? Wow. I think making that move makes you pretty weak at wide receiver to help your running back. But if I'm looking at it constructively, I think Bijan is probably an upgrade to JJ in that format, and DJ Moore and Brees are probably somewhat similar. So I probably do it, but then you go from having a weak running back room to probably a weak wide receiver room. So yes, I'd probably do it, but it's a deal with the devil, it seems like. Half PPR, would you start Addison or Downs? Also with Vikings bias, what is the best case scenario for Addison today? I'm glad that you want the Vikings bias. I try and remove it from a lot of the analysis, but I'm glad that you want it in the analysis now. I would go Addison over Downs. I think he's a little bit of a better play than Downs, just because Tyler Warren does eat up all of that, short yardage work that Downs has been getting. What is the best case scenario for Addison today? I think the best case scenario is he comes in, does what he normally does. Justin Jefferson sees some of the Jalen Ramsey coverage and things like that, and Jordan Addison gets some easier coverage and gets into the end zone. Best case scenario is I think he comes in this week and finishes as a wide receiver 2 for fantasy. So I could definitely see it happening. He just has this feel for like being able to come in and just perform immediately. And it's unfortunate because we've seen him be suspended a couple of times now, but yeah, he just has this. He's a really good wide receiver. I like him a lot. Morning, ETN or Waddle at flex in a half PPR. I like ETN more than Waddle. If Genty doesn't do it against the Bears, is it time to panic? This is an interesting question. Let me look at the upcoming schedule for him just to make sure. So he has the Bears this week. Then he has the Colts next week. Then the Titans. And the Kansas City Chiefs. You want to see signs of life this week. You absolutely do. If we don't, next week isn't going to be super easy. The Titans game should be easier. So it's like, here's the way that I view it. He needs to show me signs of life this week. If he doesn't, it's got to be signs of life in week 6 against the Titans. Because if he doesn't do it there or against Chicago, we might be really panicking on him. So I think I would say halfway to panic. But if he doesn't do it against both Chicago or Tennessee, then we're full panic on Genty, I think. Gainwell, not loving the players versus the Vikes. Montgomery, Hayden versus the Browns, or go nuts with Woody Marks. I agree with you on the Gainwell, not against the Vikes, and I agree with Monty, not against the Browns. I think Monty's the safe play, though. Monty's the guy that I would be playing here. Is Caleb Johnson worth rostering now? Should have to drop Coker in one league and Booty in another. Yeah, I would be picking him up and rostering him and stashing him on the end of my bench. Absolutely. And I would drop both Coker or Booty for him if I needed to this morning. Would you trade a QB3 like Darnold in order to get Javonte Williams with the understanding that I can trade Williams and Nico for Rice and Cook? Yeah, absolutely. He says that's in Dynasty. Yeah, I would absolutely do it. Meatball says, I'm back. Half point PPR. Are you starting Geno, start Tucker, ETN, or JMO? Oh, you're starting Geno, so do you start Tucker for the stack, ETN or JMO? I think I like, it's between ETN and JMO. I think I'm going to go with ETN. I have DK and Golden in my flex with Gainwell on the bench. With the news, would you put Gainwell in for either of them? I would play him over Golden. I would play Gainwell over Golden. No problem. Who do you got winning the game this morning? I think Wentz can get it done. I do. I think he's going to get it done. We have a Pick'em League with our community here at the League FFB, and my Pick'em pick this morning is the Minnesota Vikings. I think they do it. Chuba, Brees, or Gainwell, pick 2. It's Chuba and Brees for me. Start 1, Worthy, Judkins, Henderson, JCM. Judkins is the play. Rome or Pickens, it's Rome. One flex between Metcalf, Golden, Godwin, or Keenan. Thanks, bro. Love the jersey. Appreciate you, man. I'm going to go with Keenan Allen in the flex. Trevion or JMO this week. I think I'd go Trevion over JMO. For my ladies team, LOL, I need 2 in PPR. Metcalf, Andrews, Shaheed, or Shakir. I would go with Metcalf and Shakir for the ladies team. Simp says full PPR, Geno or Baker, Ibuka, BTJ, Garrett Wilson, pick 2. Okay, so there's plenty of questions here, so we'll answer them one by one. Geno or Baker, I'm going Baker. Ibuka, BTJ, and Garrett Wilson. If I'm picking 2, it's Ibuka and Garrett Wilson. For Brees, Mason, Kyron, Genty, picking 3 of those guys, it's going to be Brees, Genty, and Kyron. And then for the tight end of Kraft and Warren, I'm going with Warren. So hopefully we just helped you set your whole lineup there, Simp. Drunk on Dynasty says, last question before I start canning everything from my garden. Sounds like a very productive morning from you. Who is your potential week 4 breakout? I'm saying AD Mitchell. That's a good, like, deep breakout in week 4. I'm going to say I got to think about this a little bit. I think my week 4 breakout, maybe low-hanging fruit, but I'm going with Trevion Henderson. I think Trevion Henderson breaks out this week. Has a good game. Is Gainwell a start over Trevion or JMO? No, I wouldn't play him over those guys. And Dynasty, I want to go back to you because Drunk on Dynasty. I gave you Travion Henderson. In Dynasty, he's not a breakout, really. I mean, he kind of is because he hasn't performed yet, but that's like a redraft breakout. Deep Dynasty dive. What if I went with... I'm just like skimming through my rankings to see if I have anybody high. Maybe I'm thinking too hard about this one. 80 is a good pick. I kind of like Parker Washington too as like a deep cut. Maybe a Donta Thornton. Donta Thornton would be a deep cut too. Oh man, we got this dude in the chat spamming bullshit. Ban your ass. What do we got? Already answered that one. Big Dogs says full PPR, tight end premium, Waddle, Golden, or Andrews. Thank you, senor. I would go with Waddle. Gino or Dak. Give me Dak. Henderson or Gainwell in PPR. Give me Henderson. Hampton or Mason at the flex. Give me Amarion Hampton. Pick 2, Chase Brown, Pearsall, DJ Moore. It's going to be Pearsall and DJ Moore. Joe says Gino, Dak, or Stroud. I would go with Dak. George says last one for me with Mariota, Wentz, or Dart. I think I'm still going Mariota. Danny says, would you start Henderson over Javonte Williams or Genty? I would not. Jacob says full PPR. I need 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex. So we're going with Saquon, Mason, Jacobs as the running backs. So if I'm playing 2 of these running backs, it's Saquon and Jacobs. The 2 wide receivers I would play out of this group of Nico, Sutton, and Keenan would be Nico and Sutton. So then at the flex, I'm deciding between Jordan Mason and Keenan Allen. And in a full PPR, I think I'm going to go with Keenan Allen. So it may have been a little bit hard to follow that, but I'm going with Saquon, Jacobs, Nico, Sutton, and Allen. I'm going to put Mason and Dobbins on the bench. It's a good team if you're putting those guys on the bench. Is Gainwell worth rostering if you're not going to start him? Probably. I'd still pick him up and just hold him and see what happens. And if you don't get a good game out of him today and you get news or whatever that Jaylen Warren's going to be back next week and ready to go, you can drop him if you want. Half PPR, can you pick up 2 running backs and a flex? Genty, Judkins, Scattaboo, and Tetaroa McMillan. I would be going with Genty and Judkins and Tet, and I would put Scattaboo on the bench. Full PPR, 10 teams, start 7. Would you trade JSN, a 2026, a 2027 mid-first, and Javonte for Jamar Chase, 2 in a 27 and a 28 mid-second? Full PPR, 10 team. Okay, would you trade that into first for Jamar? I don't think so. I think I would rather have the 2 mid-firsts and JSN than I would, and Javonte, than I would Jamar and the seconds. So yeah, I think I'd rather have JSN and the 2 mid-firsts. Dustin says, good morning, man. Full PPR, Trey Tucker or DJ Moore in the flex. Do you see Tucker having a good game? Just don't know how I feel about Moore. I'm not super high on Trey Tucker this week. I know he had the big game last week. For me, he's like the wide receiver 47 in my rankings this week. It's sounds low. It's not that low. It's around guys like Darnell Mooney and Cedric Tillman and Cooper Kupp. But I just don't think he's a viable option to trust. DJ Moore, I understand you not having a lot of like trust in him at this point in time either, but the Las Vegas Raiders matchup is pretty decent for him. They're ranked 29th against the wide receiver position. He's my wide receiver 30. I think he has a safer floor. And outside of the whole, 3 touchdown Trey Tucker game, probably doesn't have that type of ceiling anymore. I would go DJ Moore, long story short. That's what I was thinking. Thanks, man. I hope the Vikings get it done today. You and me both, brother. Jose says, should I start JMO versus Cleveland, Metcalf versus Minnesota, or Shakir versus New Orleans? I do have Metcalf as the highest in my rankings there. Jamo's not too far behind Metcalf, but I do have Metcalf as the highest. Matt says, breaking news, Jaylen Warren inactive. Yeah, good morning, international game. That's the news that we've been trying to get a bunch of Gainwell questions in this morning. Let's see. Alex says, Drake London or Lad McConkey this week to flex. I do have Drake London higher than Lad McConkey by about, it's about 10 spots, actually. I have Drake London as my wide receiver 9. McConkey's my wide receiver 19. Lightning says, morning, full PPR, one running back and one flex. One running back and one flex needed. Chase Brown, Javonte Williams, Quentin Johnson. I also have Judy Addison and Aya Manor. I would play QJ over those guys. So if I'm going one running back and one flex, you could probably go Javonte and QJ. That's the safe play. But yeah, that's probably what I'd be doing. Wait, we knew that already? What the fuck? How did I miss that? It came out this morning. It came out about, I got the notification probably about 8:15 this morning Eastern time. So about an hour ago is when I got the notification. So maybe you just missed it in the last 60 minutes. It's not like it's been out for days. But yeah, we got it this morning right before we went live on the stream. And then we've got a bunch of Gainwell questions today. Tony Pollard or Chase Brown. I would still go Chase Brown over Tony Pollard this week. And we are getting close to time, folks. So I'm going to call last call on questions. Game starts here in about 14-ish minutes. Let's get those final questions in. Once I get caught up to the bottom, I'm going to give you just a couple seconds to get a couple more questions in. But once we get caught up to the bottom again, I will be wrapping up the stream. Before we get on out of here, though, I am going to give you guys one more little promo, so bear with me. But if you guys do want to support our show, you do want to support the channel, the best way to do that is always by playing over on Underdog. We do have a promo code with them. League FFB is the promo code. If you play $5 and you're a new customer, they will give you $50 in bonus funds to keep playing with. So just using $5 of your own money, you're going to end up with $55 in the account. So it's kind of a good perk just for signing up and trying and, supporting the show. Also, if you do it this week is a very good week of promos over on Underdog. It's the best one I've seen so far this year. So if you're going to do it, this is probably one of the better weeks to do so. It's a no sweat weekend for them. So basically you win your pick'em entry, or they're going to give you bonus funds to play again. No sweat, basically, this weekend. Also, the Sunday morning game this morning in Dublin, you do get a 50% profit boost. So if you build a pick and play there, get a little bit of a entry for them, they're going to give you that 50% bonus on that one. And then Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football, they're giving you gimme picks to also put in those pick 'em entries for Dak Prescott and Bo Nix, which is basically free squares for you to keep winning. So a very good weekend of promos over there, like I said, and it does support the show. So if you want to do that, like I said, code LEAGUEFFB is the code you have to remember when you sign up, and it does support the show. So thank you guys, everybody, for doing that. If you don't have the means, by no means is that going to ever be an issue with me. The best way you can support the show for free is by always hitting the like button. So if you haven't done that and you still want to support the show, but you don't, have the means to go spend some money, or you don't want to be, on one of these websites depositing money, I don't blame you. Hit the like button for me. I appreciate it. Ham says, half PPR, Warren was my best running back, sadly. So do I start Caleb or wait to see if Swift is not playing to play Manungai? If he does play Pacheco instead, things are dire. Yeah, I think Pacheco is the best play, and he's not a good play. But I think Pacheco's the best play, so I just go with Pacheco. Jag says, week 4, let's go. Full PPR. We start 3 wide receivers, Devontae, Ladd, Debo, Olave, Jacoby, Keenan. Thank you, Andrew. Wow, this is a good group of guys. I think if I'm looking at this in a full PPR, just going down the list, my highest ranked player is probably going to be Jacoby. I'd probably play him. I would play Ladd. Actually, Devontae Adams is my highest ranked player. I'm so sorry. Devontae, Ladd, and Jacoby, I think, would be the guys that I play. Yeah, I think it's those three. Lightning says, thank you. No problem. Thank you. Will says, one flex. Do I pick up Keenan, Godwin, Golden, or Metcalf? Thanks, bro. Love the jersey. Appreciate you, man. He says, Keenan, Godwin, Golden, or Metcalf. I'm going with Keenan as the play. Crazy to flex Mason Taylor over Cedric Tillman. I think I'd still play Cedric Tillman. I think I still would. Do you think Gadsden can break out? I think he can. He's a player that I liked in the pre-draft process a little bit. Just some of the athletic profile that he had as a tight end coming into the league. It was weird that he was a little bit of a healthy scratch, inactive guy to start the year, because as soon as he got on the football field, he looked pretty good. So he definitely is a player that has breakout potential. Fantasy Meatball says, thank you for answering me and Michelle, my ladies' questions, and good luck week 5, brother. Appreciate you, man. Seriously. And good luck to you guys as well. Hopefully you guys get some dubs. Shade says, May or Purdy. Interesting. I think I'm going to lean Drake May there against Carolina, because I don't really know what Purdy's going to look like, and his wide receiver room's a little bit banged up. So give me Drake May. And then Joe, I know we answered it earlier, but I'm going to answer it for you again, and this will be the last one that we answer here before we log off. But Chase Brown or Pollard, I'm going with Chase Brown. He is just the play that I would do. Neither of these guys have been good to start the year, though. So there you have it, folks. Week 4 Q&A, start sit Sunday live, whatever you want to call it, in the books. We're at 49 likes. If one more person could go give me that like to get to 50, I would greatly appreciate you guys. No stress, though, if we don't. It's not a big deal. But thank you, everybody, for coming in and hanging out right before the early Dublin game, my Minnesota Vikings versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like I said, I know it's a little bit crazy sometimes to get everybody up, especially depending on which coast you're waking up on, to get in for these early morning international games, and even more so the early morning international game streams, because we're even earlier than the game. So appreciate you guys for coming and hanging out. Regardless, we do have another international game next week, so it's going to be kind of the same deal. So bear with me. Wake up a couple early mornings with me and come hang out and talk some fantasy football and chill with us. So other than that, I have nothing else for you guys today. Meatball, I'll let you sneak in the buzzer beater. He says Stroud or Purdy. I'm going with Purdy, but make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe, comment, do all that good stuff. Lots of content on the way this week, but nothing else for you. So we'll see you. And Skull, baby, we got to go get that dub. Peace out, folks.